So right now, there are not really any super obvious buys other than you guys know what set has evolutions. But other than that, I don't think anyone out there is really pointing to any other set that's an obvious buy because it's kind of hard, right? Because everything is sort of around the same price. Most booster boxes at this point, pretty much all of them are above 250, maybe except for Scarlet and Violet base. It's still probably maybe around 250, maybe a little under, but everything else is above $250. So everyone's looking around like, what should I really be buying here? But there is one set, one booster box that I believe at this current point in state in the market, I think it's actually pretty undervalued, and I think it is actually a pretty good investment at this point. What set is this? It's Surging Sparks. Now, I know Surging Sparks. You may have not even heard about it, right? People don't even talk about this set anymore. But remember when this set came out and how crazy it was? Yeah, I mean, obviously it's gone away a little bit. But I truly believe Surging Sparks, without all the hype, with all the craziness, it's still a very good set. In fact, a very good set. It has really three very strong top chase cards. And looking at everything else, and I'm going to go through a couple or a few of booster boxes that are around the same age as Surging Sparks, plus or minus like 6 months around there, that are around the same price. And when you really think about Surging Sparks as a set value, and you look at all these other booster boxes, Surging Sparks becomes a lot more attractive. So as you can see here, Temporal Forces, right? Right now, lowest listed, it's just recently gone up. Lowest listed is $293. You can see most recent sale was $267, so it just ran up $30 from just one box being sold, and then it jumped to $293. But lowest listed right now is $293, and if you go on eBay, you're not really finding it much cheaper for like $270, $280. So this is pretty much almost now a $300 booster box. And Temporal Forces, yeah, it's three sets newer or older, I should say rather, than Surging Sparks. What is that? Maybe 9 months or something. It's not that much older, but Temporal Forces, if you look at the set value compared to Surging Sparks, there's quite a difference in Temporal, even though I still think it's a pretty decent set. It doesn't have any standout chases in the era, so Temporal being 293, think about that. Twilight Masquerade, as you can see right now, is 345. Now Twilight Masquerade, it's two sets older than Surging Sparks, so only about maybe around 6 months, somewhere around there, older, not that much older, and you can see it's 330, it's 345 right now. When you look at Stellar Crown, just before Surging Sparks, it is basically $300 at this point, as you can see. So looking at all these prices, all about $300, Twilight Masquerade a little bit north of that, 345. Where is Surging Sparks sitting at today? Or I guess after Journey Together, just wanted to, include this. It's after, Surging Sparks, I guess after technically Prismatic Evolutions, Journey Together. Journey Together is 265, and it's actually going to be closer to like 280 after some sales. So Surging Sparks, now I know those sort of anticlimactic because sort of messed up the order here, but Surging Sparks is at $290. Now, I just showed you guys, there are some older boxes that are around 290, Temporal and Stellar Crown. They're not that much older though, and they're about the same price as Surging Sparks. Now I know Surging Sparks is newer, right, by a few sets comparatively to Temporal and Stellar, Twilight Masquerade, but the value in Surging Sparks is a lot higher than those sets, and there's a lot more demand with Surging Sparks. The fact, in my opinion, that Surging Sparks is just the same price as Temporal Forces and Stellar Crown is crazy to me. And Twilight Masquerade, I'd say Twilight Masquerade and Surging Sparks, I still think people would say Surging Sparks is more popular. The fact Twilight Masquerade is more expensive than Surging Sparks, in my opinion, shows something. Surging Sparks, I believe, it should be maybe a little more expensive than it is right now. But the reason why it's not as expensive is because we did get a reprint, right? We did get a reprint not too long ago. I'm not exactly sure how exactly long ago it was, but Surging Sparks got a reprint, and prices went down from like 250 to like 215, and then went back up. And now you can see, if you actually zoom out here, I believe here was around here, this time frame was the dip. I forget exactly where it was. I think this might be the bottom where it hit, like around here. price has gone up since then and it's 290, but I still truly believe at this point in time, when you compare it to every other booster box in set, comparatively, this is pretty cheap, even though it is newer. But like I said, big thing is it's already gotten a reprint. Now we've seen some booster boxes get a couple of reprints, like Paldea Evolved, Obsidian Flames. But if you guys remember all those reprints, they did basically nothing. Now, the most recent Surging Sparks booster box reprint did actually drop prices down like $30, $40. But, you have to think about it this way. Do you really see in the future Pokemon printing a large amount of Surging Sparks booster boxes? I personally don't see that happening. One reason being we haven't seen literally really any booster box get heavily reprinted in Scarlet and Violet. We really haven't seen any get hugely reprinted. I mean, Paldea Evolved, Obsidian Flames, those prices didn't really drop. Twilight Masquerade also got reprinted. Let's mention that. The prices didn't really drop. So at this current point in time, Surging Sparks is also, like I said, pretty much at this point about a year old. You got to realistically think about this. I don't see any major reprints. Will they reprint it? Probably, maybe, right? But I don't see any major reprint where prices drop significantly at all. And that being the case, Surging Sparks now a year later, after being released, I think this is a pretty good buy. Now, obviously, at release, you could have bought this booster box for like $150 after release. Like the first week after release, it dropped to like from 160 to 150. Yes, but that was a year ago. Now, at this current point in the market, this price point at 290 is, in my opinion, pretty attractive to buy at this price point. So, I believe Surging Sparks. Hey, I know some of you guys, this is literally the start of the boom and when things went crazy. But Surging Sparks, it's not even just because, I'm talking about investing into it because all the hype, because right now there really is no hype for Surging Sparks. I believe this is a kind of a sleeper play if you really consider the facts of other sets. Now, booster box cases are going for about $2,000, which is a little bit more than the loose booster box. So if you do the math here, 2,000 divided by 6 comes out to $333. So you're paying what, like a $40 premium. So a little bit of a premium. I mean, that's a little bit over 10%. It's not that bad of a premium. So hey, if you're paying about 10%, I always say like anything around 10-15% of a premium for a case, obviously depending on how old the set is as well, that's not that bad. So if you want to buy a case, you can. But if not, you can just buy a loose box. Now, even on eBay, there are some sellers selling them for $280. And I've checked some of these boxes and sellers, they seem legit. So Surging Sparks, $280 for a booster box. If you go on eBay, buy them for $280. That's not that bad. I mean, $280 really, in this point in time, I mean, that's Temporal Forces, Stellar Crown. I actually don't think that's very expensive. Now, when you look at Surging Sparks, and you actually look at the set alone, you can see what I'm saying here. There's not just like one chase. It's not just like one card in here that is actually expensive or sought after. There are actually plenty in here that are sought after. First one being the Pikachu SAR, people call it the Booty Chew. Yeah, you can see here. It's still pretty expensive, but it has gone down significantly since release, which is my next point. Is I believe when we get to a point where Surging Sparks, I believe it will go up. These cards will go up in value, in the future because they're actually pretty low right now comparatively to their all-time. I believe, this set is just right now undervalued. Just a lot of the cards are not that expensive. And just when you compare to everything else, and I just see potential in a lot of these cards. I just think there's a bright future for Surging Sparks, and the price points at it's pretty attractive. Latios, Milotic, these are all pretty high chase cards in this era. Pikachu EX, the gold one, it used to be a lot more expensive, but it's mainly these three which are really top chases. And I guess I should mention also, total set value is north of $1,000. So looking at the year chart for Surging Sparks, you can see how far down these cards have dropped. At one point, this card was $500, and now it is around $340. So that's a bit of a drop. Obviously, it was cheaper at one point. It's been going up, just a little bit recently, but still a lot more cheaper than it used to be. As you can see here, same thing. Latios, still a lot more cheaper than it used to be. Milotic, you can see same thing, a lot cheaper than it used to be. Now, when you look at the PSA 10s for these top chases, as you can see here, like Pikachu, Latios, and Milotic, you can see here are the PSA 10s and here are the 9s. So they all have about a 2 to 3 ratio of PSA 10s to 9s. So, I'm not exactly sure if that's high PSA 10 rate. It's about a 2 to 3 ratio you can see with all these. So not exactly sure if that's super high or not. You guys can let me know down in the comments. I'm not super into the whole graded thing, but I'll just pull up the PSA 10, I guess, gem rates or whatever. You guys can do the math. But 2 to 3 ratio with PSA 9s, don't, 10s to 9s. Don't know if that's great or not. But looking at the PSA 10s and how much they're going for right now, the Surging Sparks Pikachu is still going for above $1,000, and a 10, it's going anywhere from $1,200 to $1,300. The Latias is going for about $650, and the Milotic's going for around $400. So just looking at all these other sets and all these other booster boxes, how they're basically the same price as Surging Sparks. And Surging Sparks, the card values right now are pretty low, right? But the booster box is sealed. It's, I also think, pretty low, and I just think Surging Sparks, the cards inside, they're going to have a time where they run up. I truly believe that, because you can see with all those graphs, they've gone up recently a little bit, but they're still far away from what they used to be. I think Surging Sparks, will age very well. I think people see Surging Sparks as probably a top 5 set in Scarlet and Violet. And I just think right now, when you look at all the other options of all the other booster boxes, yeah, some of them are a little bit older, but the biggest thing for me is that Surging Sparks booster boxes have already gotten a reprint. That's the biggest thing to me. If it never got a reprint and it still hasn't, I would say, okay, maybe now it's not the best time, because possibly they will do a big reprint or a bigger reprint. But since we've already gotten one, I just highly doubt there's going to be a huge mass amount of supply of Surging Sparks booster boxes, because we just never have seen that with anything, but especially the second time if it gets reprinted, the booster box, which isn't even a guarantee. I just don't think it's going to drop price as much, and I believe Surging Sparks is just a very good set where right now it's just, comparative to other booster box prices, it's pretty good to me. And I guess I never really thought about Surging Sparks being a pretty good buy right now at this market, but I really just thought about it, and I'm like, wow, these other boxes are around the same price. Surging Sparks, yeah, it's a little bit newer, but it's already on a reprint. And the cards in here, while they're cheaper than they used to be, in the future, when I believe they'll inevitably probably go up, this is a very, very, good buy right now. So just want to make this video. You guys can let me know what you think. I know Surging Sparks really is not in the talks anymore. It's kind of like a forgotten about hype thing. But I really believe that there are some pretty top chase cards in this set, which I don't think this set is going to be forgotten for long. I feel like there will be a time where this has a run up, and Surging Sparks at $290, and I even showed you guys $280 on eBay. At this point in the market, that's actually closer to the lower mid end of booster box prices. So that's all I want to talk about in this video. I haven't talked about Surging Sparks in a long time, but I just think the data shows that it's pretty undervalued. So that's all I want to talk about here. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one.